Hey guys, the Explanation Pro is here. Today, I'll explain the horror comedy film titled PMAC. Spoilers incoming! The film opens in a small house where the pregnant Nak falls to the ground, calling her husband's name PMAC. The film then transitions to a medic Ter grimly telling his comrades about his experience. As a result, he gets slapped in the head by a man with a stupid looking hairdo, Whack. Mac is then brought to the room screaming in pain, only to find out that it's just a sprain. Quack encourages them to never surrender, telling them that they still have swords to fight against the enemy. As they courageously charge, they forget that the enemies have guns. In the trenches, Mac tells his new friends that they will not die there because he still wants to see his wife and child. Because of this, they carried on to battle, with Mac getting shot every time. While this is happening, Nak hauntingly sings for her husband, making the townspeople lock themselves in their houses. She must be a bad singer. Wouldn't you know it, the gang survives the war. Afterwards, Mac returns to a boat to Fracano while being accompanied by his friends. Upon reaching the town, all they see are empty houses. They then continue to Mac's house and they reach the place by nightfall. Mac calls Nak, but he receives no reply. Mac then sees a rocking baby's crib, but he finds it empty upon inspection. Suddenly, Nak hugs him from behind. They then joyfully kiss and embrace each other. Mac then sees his son, with Nak informing him that she named the child after his favorite name. Upon shouting the name, the gang gets disappointed by how ugly the name is, with Quack commenting that his servant has a nicer name. Afterwards, Mac introduces his wife to his friends in order. A, Ter, Quack, and Shin. After learning that his friends have to stay for one night because it is already too late to leave, Mac implores them to stay for much longer than that. Mac then points them to his aunt's old house across the river, telling them to stay there for a while. That night, Mac tells Nak that she is all he thought about during the war. After Nak scares him by pointing out that there is a ghost, Mac immediately tells Nak that he's afraid of ghosts, which somehow makes Nak sad. After talking to each other, Nak proceeds to rock the baby while singing a haunting lullaby that echoes throughout, inducing the townspeople with fear. The following day, Park is rudely awakened by Sheen imitating the chirping of birds. Mac then shouts at them from outside, telling them that they have to go to the market. Ter and Mac then see a boat carrying the dead bodies from the war. While rowing a boat towards the town, Sheen waves at Nak, who is by the window, but Nak just ominously stares, making Sheen uncomfortable. When they reach the town, they find the market is crowded. Mac then approaches a street vendor that he knows, but the street vendor immediately hides what she's selling, telling Mac that she's all out. This happens again with another vendor who tells Mac that he's not selling fish because it's a holiday. In the liquor store, Mac tells the dozing vendor, however, realizing that the boy is Mac. The vendor suddenly tells Mac that he should look under between his legs to see what Nak is, but she's interrupted by a boy named Ping, who tells the gang that she speaks nonsense when drunk. That night, while drinking, the four boys talk about the strange happenings earlier. His mom would tell her that one can see a ghost by looking between their legs. Ter then asks her if he implies that Nak is a ghost. And when she nods, the other three laugh at him. They then command Shin to invite Mac to their drinking session, and Shin has no choice but to accept because he's that least drunk. When Shin is climbing to the stairs to Mac's house, one of the steps break. He sees Nak, asking her if Mac is there. He then feels relief because Nak talks to him normally. However, Nak begins to bleed from between her legs, ending with a nightmarish drop of a fetus. Shin suddenly wakes up from his bad dream, but he soon finds out that it is a case of deja vu. After being commanded again to Mac's house, Shin goes again and climbs the stairs, knowing one of the steps is going to break. He crosses beyond it, but the next step breaks instead. After getting up to the house, he finds the whole house untidy. After seeing the crib move by itself and seeing Nak's hand reaching a line below the house even if she's upstairs, Shin leaves the scene immediately to return to his buddies. A, Ter and Quack drunkenly sing and dance their marching song. Shin then arrives to tell them that Nak is a ghost, stating that the house is messy. The crib moves on its own, and Nak inhumanly reaches a line with a long arm. But all of this is countered by Shin's friends as imaginations. The following day, the gang helps Mac because the town peoples all act strange. Ter is then assigned to take the axe inside the house. Upon climbing the stairs, Ter sees that Shin is correct in saying that the house is untidy. He then attempts to look between his legs, but instead, he wrongly looks at Nak's legs. Ter then tells Shin that he made the ghost identifying move but finds nothing. Afterwards, Ter takes a dump in the forest. There, he sees a mummified corpse wearing a ring, making him run. In his run, he knocks over a bee's nest, and when he returns, Shin and A sees his bloated face from bee stings. Ter then sees Nak wearing the same ring that the corpse had. He tries to warn his friends, but they cannot understand him because his face is bloated. Ter then writes what he's saying. They are understandably surprised. It rains afterwards, and Mac sees his friends outside his house. After seeing the paper that Quack is holding, Mac approaches them to know what it is about. After attempting to pass it on from one person to another, Mac finally reads it, getting shocked as well. The four then immediately leave Mac to return to the guest house. Shin asks Ter why he did not see Nak as a ghost when he looked between the legs, and Ter answers that he looked at Nak's legs, not knowing that he is supposed to look between his legs. They then witness through the window how Mac confronts Nak. However, Mac embraces Nak, confusing the gang. Ter then understands that Mac misread what is written because the ink has been smudged by the rain, reading it as gross instead of ghost. While the others have made up their mind to leave, Ter does not want to abandon Mac. That night, Ter and Shin decide to go to Mac to tell him about Nak, leaving A and Quack behind. A and Quack then are approached by Ping, telling them to help him slaughter his cow as a funeral offering. When they learn that it was for Ping's mother and that his mother died because she attempted to reveal Nak's identity, A and Quack immediately follow their friends who warn them. Ter is about to tell Mac that his wife is a ghost, but he changes it instead to beautiful after seeing Nak. A and Quack arrive with wet clothes, implying that they crossed the river without a boat. As they are about to return to their house, Nak suggests eating at Mac's residence. Afterwards, upon seeing the disgusting food, the four tell Mac that they are full. Ter, however, eats because he sees Nak's deadly stare as if to say the food is to die for. After Ter eats a dry leaf, the rest eat as well, with poor Shin having to eat worms. Afterwards, Mac then invites them to hold his child, with Shin unluckily chosen again. After noticing that the four are signaling each other, Mac wrongly thought that they were thinking about playing charades. Mac always answers with far-fetched guesses, prompting Ter to wonder what Mac's IQ is. When it is Ter's turn, the word he has to make them guess is dessert. They then quickly get to the second syllable with the word shirt. When they can't get the first syllable, Ter points at Nak, and Shin immediately connects the two syllables dead and shirt to form dessert. They celebrate only briefly when they realize that they revealed Nak is dead. They then make excuses to leave after Mac asks them what the answer is. While trying to go back to their house via boat, the boat briefly circles back twice due to their anxiety-filled rowing before finally returning on track. Mac confronts the four in their house, telling them that Ping lied to the villagers about his wife being a ghost because Nak rejected Ping's courtship. Mac returns to his house, telling Nak that he already kicked out his friends. Afterwards, Mac and Nak go to the carnival, with Nak wearing a mask to hide her identity. They then have fun together. Nak helps Mac win a Knock the Cans game and remove the Ferris wheel cue by using her ghostly powers. While aboard the Ferris wheel, Nak asks her husband if he can live without her, and Mac answers that he can't. Afterwards, the couple enters the haunted house while Ter, Quack, and Shin observe from afar. Ter then tells them that he brought holy rice. Inside the haunted house, the four kidnap Mac behind Nak's back. However, upon finding out that the door is stuck, the four change as the haunted house monsters, with Ter placing his foot on Mac's mouth. After Nak leaves, the four move again to leave the place, but they re-encounter Nak, with Nak reaching Ter with her elongated arm. They then break through the walls to escape to the forest. Mac then admonishes them for doing this, telling them that the arm they saw earlier is just a prop. After telling them that he tried the looking between the legs method and saw nothing, Mac leaves them. The gang attempts to follow Mac but cannot find him. They then see a trail of blood which leads to Mac. Mac's war wounds has opened again, leading Ter to think that Mac might be a ghost. Ter and Shin then takes Mac's hands to see if he has a wedding ring, and upon finding nothing, they feel relieved. However, when Mac shows that his ring is in his necklace, Ter immediately throws the holy rice at Mac, making Mac scream in pain. The four then flee from the area. After stopping their run, the four then talk about Nak actually being the living one. They then agree to save Nak from Mac rather than leaving her alone with the dead. Returning to Nak's house, Quack calls Nak, telling her that she must go with them. The skeptical Shin is still afraid of her, telling them about the food earlier, and Quack justifies it as just healthy options. After Nak searches for Mac, the gang makes up an excuse that Mac is somewhere else. They then leave on a boat. In the next scene, the boat starts to sink, so they have to throw their belongings away. Quack stupidly asks Nak if her son is necessary, and he receives silence as an answer. Ter then has the bright idea to throw the paddles away, and the boat stops sinking after that, resulting in a celebration. But now they can't move. Suddenly, Mac appears on the shore, scaring the four idiots. Mac then swims towards them, but he gets a muscle cramp and begins to drown. They then help Mac to get out of the water. Mac then admonishes them for leaving him. Ter asks why Mac screamed in pain when the holy rice was thrown at him, and Mac answers that the rice struck his wound. The boat starts sinking again, prompting Quack to ask Nak again if her son is still necessary. They then paddle with their hands. Ter stops them, asking about the real ghost. After A drops the wedding ring, Ter screams that A is the ghost, kicking A from the boat. After pointlessly paddling with their hands, Nak gives them a paddle. Ter stops from his track after realizing that the paddle is so far now, which means Nak is the ghost. Ter then stands to look between his legs, but all he sees is his friends' faces. After failing to get their heads out of the way, Ter smartly sings their marching song, which the others follow. After the song is done, Ter finally sees Nak's ghostly face. Nak then reaches Mac with her elongated arm, prompting them to leave the boat. However, not knowing how to swim, Shin does not jump, leaving him behind with Nak. But after Nak holds his head, Shin jumps to the water and expertly swims to the shore. They then knock out Mac because he does not want to leave his wife. Inside the temple, Quack, Ter, and Shin, and a knocked out Mac are surrounded by strings while a monk is praying beside them. Nak enters the temple, but the monk is not afraid because he has weapons such as holy water, holy rice, and their strings. However, because of the rowdy boys, the holy water is spilled, the holy rice is fed to the birds, and the string gets broken after the monk is kicked toward it. Afterwards, the gang finds themselves tied to the same strings that are supposed to protect them. The monk escapes immediately through a window. As Nak approaches them, A reappears as well. They then push Quack towards A because he's still wet from the holy water, resulting in not one, but two kisses from Quack and A. A then tells them that he's not a ghost, that he got the ring because he is broke. They then attempt to escape Nak, making Nak scream. After disappearing out of sight, they find Nak again, but she is hanging on the roof like Spider-Man this time. Nak then tells them that she did not kill his drunkard mother, who fell down the river on her own. but the gang tells her that she is still selfish because she should have been on the other side. Because of this, Nak reaches out to Mac by stretching her arm. Mac anticipates the arm, but he closes his eyes in fear. Because of this, Nak realizes that Mac is afraid of her. She apologizes to Mac for lying to him, telling him that she only wants to be with him for much longer. Nak then tells Mac that she wants him to carry on after she's gone. However, Mac then tells Nak that he knows she's a ghost all along, but he decides to continue loving her despite this realization. After Nak tells him that their supernatural relationship is wrong, Mac tells her while he is afraid of ghosts, he is more afraid of her absence. Because of this, the gang is moved to tears. The film ends with Mac and Nak sharing a passionate kiss. The post-credit scenes show them living with Nak despite being a ghost. I'm sorry if I butchered the names. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.